McDonald's had to kill the dollar menu. Or at least, that's the official story. A tale of economic inevitability, of inflation's cruel, unstoppable march. A corporation with no other choice. But the word had implies necessity. As if they were backed into a corner, a victim of macroeconomic forces beyond their control. And in a way, they were. But not by inflation. Not by supply chains. Not by the cost of a beef patty. They were cornered by a promise they never intended to keep, and a business model designed to devour its own. The dollar menu wasn't dragging McDonald's toward bankruptcy. Far from it. It was the engine of their empire, the most powerful customer acquisition tool ever devised in fast food. Its problem wasn't that it wasn't profitable. Its problem was that it wasn't profitable enough. Not for the franchises. Not for corporate. And most importantly, not for Wall Street. Because McDonald's, like every major fast food chain you know, isn't really in the restaurant business. Not anymore. It's a publicly traded global corporation, a real estate empire, and a branding machine. And the game it's playing is one of perpetual growth, where customer loyalty is a line item on a spreadsheet, and value is just a variable to be optimized. When something as beloved as the dollar menu starts looking inefficient on a balance sheet, it doesn't matter how iconic it is. It's been marked for death. But here's the twist they never saw coming. You can kill a menu, but you can't kill an identity. For over a decade, McDonald's has been trapped in a phantom limb syndrome of its own making, desperately trying to convince us, and themselves, that a $14 combo meal is the natural evolution of a $1 double cheeseburger. This is the story of how the dollar menu died, why it was really assassinated, and how its ghost now haunts every overpriced drive-thru, every confusing app offer, and every frustrated customer who just wants a cheap meal.
The year is 2002. The dot-com bubble has burst. The world is reeling from 9/11. Economic uncertainty is the new normal. And in this atmosphere of collective anxiety, a McDonald's franchisee in New York City had a radical idea. What if we made everything cost $1? Well, not everything, but enough. The concept wasn't entirely new. Wendy's had found success with its biggie sizes and value offerings, but McDonald's was about to weaponize value on a scale never seen before. Corporate spent a staggering $50 million just to promote the concept in the New York region alone. The response was seismic. Suddenly, for a single bill, you could get a full meal, a burger, fries, a drink. It was a stimulus package for the everyday person. Historically, fast food thrives in recessions. It's the lipstick effect in action. When people pull back on spending, they trade down from sit-down restaurants to quick, affordable, predictable meals. McDonald's, with its new dollar menu, wasn't just catching that wave, it was creating a tsunami. But what they didn't anticipate was the psychological contract they were signing with the American public. The dollar menu stopped being a promotion and became a core part of McDonald's DNA. It was a covenant. No matter what happens out there, you can always come here and get a full meal for a few bucks. It was cheap, fast, and reliable. It was a safety net. For over a decade, through 2 separate recessions, they held the line. Revenue soared as customer traffic exploded. But a crack was forming beneath the surface, a fissure between the reality of the restaurant and the demands of the corporation. To understand the depth of the dollar menu, you have to understand the bizarre, often adversarial relationship between McDonald's corporate and its franchisees. Here's the secret. Roughly 93% of McDonald's plus 41,000 locations are not owned by McDonald's. They are owned by independent franchisees, small business owners who have invested their life savings into operating a McDonald's. McDonald's corporate makes its money in 3 ways. 1. Initial franchising fees, the buy-in cost. 2. Rent. McDonald's is one of the world's largest real estate companies. They often own the land and buildings and charge franchisees rent, which is frequently a percentage of sales. 3. Royalties, a cut of all sales, usually around 4 to 5%. This structure is genius for corporate. They offload the operational headaches, staffing, food costs, utilities, local marketing onto the franchisees, while they collect steady, predictable revenue stream. Corporate's job isn't to sell burgers, it's to grow the brand and the stock price. And this is where the dollar menu became a ticking time bomb. By the late 2000s, inflation was creeping in. The cost of beef, bonds, cheese, and labor was rising, but the price on the dollar menu was frozen in time. A report from the Wall Street Journal at the time revealed that franchises were making a profit of just 6 cents on a double cheeseburger sold for $1. The model only worked if that dollar burger was a loss leader, enticing customers to buy high-margin items like sodas, which cost pennies, and fries. But a growing number of customers were wise to the game. They'd walk in, order 2 McDoubles off the dollar menu, and a water cup, total check, $2.12. The franchisee lost money on that transaction. Franchisees began to revolt. They weren't selling more. They were just working more, moving unprecedented volume for microscopic, and sometimes negative, margins. They were drowning in transactions, the very tool that brought customers and was now strangling the small business owners at the local level. Corporate was caught. The dollar menu was a marketing masterpiece that was now financially unsustainable for the very network that executed it. The covenant was breaking. In 2013, McDonald's corporate finally pulled the plug. The national dollar menu promotion was officially scrapped. But they knew they couldn't just kill it outright. The brand's identity was too tied to affordability. So, they did what any good corporation would do. They launched a rebrand. First came the dollar menu and more. A few token $1 items remained, but they were now surrounded by items priced at $2 and even $5. The goal was to give franchises breathing room while maintaining the illusion of value. It failed. Customers felt betrayed. The magic was gone. The menu was confusing, and the value proposition was diluted. Undaunted, they tried again in 2018 with the 1, 2, 3 menu, featuring items at each of those price points. It also fell flat. One analyst put it bluntly, "This does drive some traffic, but the message is tired and drives people to trade down rather than explore higher-priced options." That quote is the Rosetta Stone for understanding modern fast food. The entire industry is trapped in a trading down vortex. Their marketing reminds people to be price conscious, which then makes them less likely to buy the profitable items. It's a self-defeating cycle. Meanwhile, McDonald's began a conscious strategy to shed its cheap image. They introduced gourmet items like signature crafted recipes, expanded McCafe, and invested in modern store designs with kiosks and neutral tones. The goal was to justify higher prices. And boy, did prices rise. According to an analysis by Finance Buzz, McDonald's prices have nearly doubled, up 100%, from 2014 to 2024, outpacing every other major chain. The average combo meal now easily crests $12 to $15 in many markets. The company was having an identity crisis. It wanted to be seen as a premium, modern eatery, but its brand soul was still that of a cheap, reliable burger joint. The cognitive dissonance was deafening. The most telling sign of this schizophrenia is McDonald's current solution, the app. Nearly all meaningful deals are now locked behind the digital wall of the McDonald's app. Sure, you can get a BOGO Big Mac or a $1 large fry, but you have to download the app, register, surrender your data, and navigate its clunky interface. This is a masterstroke of corporate strategy and a failure of customer experience. For corporate, it's a data goldmine. They can track customer behavior, target offers, and encourage loyalty without having to publicly advertise low prices that could cheapen the brand. They can offer you a free McChicken without having to put it on a billboard. For the customer, it's a hassle. It creates a two-tiered pricing system, one for the savvy app user and a much more expensive one for the casual drive-thru customer. It fractures the simple, universal promise of the brand. But the ghost of the dollar menu wouldn't stay buried. In 2024, after widespread media coverage of fast food flat iron and a startling drop in low-income traffic, McDonald's was forced to act. They introduced the McValue menu, headlined by a $5 meal deal including a McChicken or McDouble, for piece nuggets, small fries, and a small drink. On the surface, it's a concession, a return to value. But look closer, and you see the same old ghosts. First, franchisees immediately complained, just as they had a decade prior, that the $5 price point was unsustainable without corporate subsidy. An independent franchisee group called it a penny profit business and stated flatly, there simply is not enough profit to discount 30% for this model to be sustainable. Second, and more insidiously, the $5 meal isn't really about value. It's about menu psychology. Look at the a la carte prices. A small fry is often $3.29. A double cheeseburger is pushing $4.00. A drink is $1.89. Purchased separately, that $5 meal would cost over $9. The $5 deal is a decoy. Its primary purpose is to make the rest of the inflated menu seem reasonable by comparison. It's a lighthouse guiding you toward a perceived bargain, distracting you from the fact that you're standing in a restaurant where a Big Mac meal costs as much as a plate in a casual dining chain. It's the illusion of value, meticulously engineered. The fallout is now impossible to ignore. In the first quarter of 2025, McDonald's reported its worst revenue drop since the pandemic. Sales at stores open at least a year fell 6%. Visits from their most crucial demographic, low and middle-income customers, plummeted by nearly 10%. The CEO's explanation? Customers are being more judicious about where they spend their money. Corporate speak for, we are no longer affordable to the people who built us. This is the final, devastating paradox. McDonald's spent a decade teaching an entire generation to equate its brand with affordability. It built a global empire on the back of the dollar menu. Then, it spent the next decade systematically dismantling that affordability to chase higher profits and appease Wall Street. And now, it's shocked that those very customers are walking away. They succeeded in making McDonald's less cheap, but in the process, they made it irrelevant to the millions who needed it to be cheap. The stock price might be stable, and net income might be up due to those ruthless efficiencies, but the foundation is crumbling. You can't methodically alienate your core audience and expect no consequences. The dollar menu is never coming back. The economic forces are too strong, the corporate mandate too clear, but its ghost will forever linger in the quieted drive-thrus, in the frustrated sighs over a $15 receipt, and in the collective memory of a time when the biggest decision at McDonald's wasn't whether you could afford it, but which dollar item you wanted two of. McDonald's didn't just kill a menu, it killed a part of itself, and the customer it's losing is the casualty it still refuses to acknowledge. If you want to see another fast food, check out this video on how the $5 chicken that outsmarted America's grocery game. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, when was the last time you felt like you got a real deal at a fast food restaurant?